Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the new moon happening in the sign of Leo. So new moons represent new beginnings, new energy coming in, new starts. It's an energy that we work on for the next 28 days or so. So that's what a new moon is, generally speaking, a starting point, a seeding point. Now this one's in the sign of Leo. You can see that's the new moon, and it's in the sign of Leo. It's at 23 degrees of Leo. So if you know your charts, look for 23 degrees of Leo. That particular house is the area that will be impacted by this new moon. So generally speaking, Leo is the sign of happiness, creativity, following your heart, performing arts, these sort of things. So the big theme here can be following your heart, making yourself happy, going with your gut in a way, because sometimes when we are not in tune with our gut, we are not happy from inside. So finding our happiness, finding our heart, going where our heart takes us. So those are the broad themes, but more important is where Leo is in your personal chart, that particular house, because the matters associated with that house will be impacted. Now let's talk about the aspects that are going on with this new moon, because those aspects will color the energy of this new moon. Now the first thing that I want to touch upon is that this one is in an almost exact square to Uranus, right? This right here is Uranus. It's at 23 exact, and the new moon here is at 23:17. So exact square. Squares represent a moment of challenge, friction, change, a lot to do with change, right? When we have squares, it's about changing, it's about rising up to the occasion. And Uranus is a very unpredictable sort of energy. It's the unpredictable one. It's the not the ordinary, right? Uranus is not the ordinary. So there can be this change that can be unexpected, that can be sudden. There can be this energy that is not our normal day-to-day life, that's out of the ordinary a little bit. But this can be a slightly stressful aspect, so just be mindful of that. It can be a sudden thing that we might need to embrace in order to deal with it effectively, right? So that's the most important highlight of square to Uranus, being ready for any change that we need to step into, right? That's the first and the most important aspect of this moon. The second thing I want to touch upon is the fact that we have Venus right here. It's retrograde. It's been retrograde for a while now, and it will be retrograde for quite some time as well. And Venus retrograde is an opportunity to review matters related to relationships, projects, finances, those sort of things. So we are in that process of review, going back to things we've already started, worked on, in an effort to make them better, in an effort to take them forward as well. And it's sitting right next to the moon as well. So perhaps matters to do with finances, love, relationships, self-worth can come up on this moon with Venus there and Venus retrograde. Uranus here is squaring the moon, but it is also trining Mars, right? Mars is building up to trine Uranus, and Mars is the planet of action and initiative and doing things, right? And this is a positive aspect. So what these aspects tell me, the square and the trine, is that perhaps there might be a sudden change or unexpected energy, or our life may seem a little out of the ordinary for a few days. We need to take action towards that, right? We don't just need to not do anything. We must rise up, we must take action, we must step up to the occasion. And that stepping up, that taking action is supported because of this trine. Another thing to be mindful of is the fact that Mercury here is getting ready to retrograde, right? Mercury is covering those degrees it will retrograde over. So again, pay attention to things that are happening in your life, connected to your day-to-day routine, connected to your thoughts, connected to contracts that might be coming up, because these things will come under review when Mercury retrogrades August 23rd onwards. So these are the main highlights. One more thing I want to touch upon that I speak about in almost every video is that Pluto has squared the nodes, right? When we spoke on the last moon, it was very intense, and about, say, 3 weeks ago, the energy was very intense. Pluto squared the nodes. This energy is about change, it's about endings, it's about beginnings. And now you can see Ketu south node is at 26 and Rahu the north node is at 26 and Pluto is at 28. So we are over that. That does not mean it's done, because it's still pretty close. The peak is done right now. It's happening, but the peak now, it's like it builds and then it declines. So it's now on the decline, that energy of endings, beginnings, change. So we were in that very intense energy on the last moon 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago especially. Now it's coming to a close, and these are the main highlights that are going on. I also want to touch upon one more important fact, and that is that we have a lot of retrograde energy right now. I showed you in my last video and I'll show you again. Venus, right? We have Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and by the next moon, which is I believe on August 30th, 2 weeks from now, we'll have Mercury retrograde, and we will also have Uranus retrograde. So a lot of retrogrades already here and building up, and this means more review. This means going back to past matters to make them better. This means it can feel a little slow in terms of life, right? Life can feel a little slow. Although, that being said, we've had this energy of Pluto square the nodes, and this moon is in a square to Uranus, right? So there can be a lot of activity, but at the same time, it feels like there's a lot going on, but there's no forward movement. It's contradictory, I understand, but that's what it is. That's the best way I can put it. So these are the highlights for this moon. I want to keep it concise and short, because the most important thing, if I had to pick something, is that we are over, not done with, but getting over that big change that happened 2-3 weeks ago, leading to endings, beginnings, transition, renewal. Now we are on the decline, and this moon is going to bring some energy that is out of the ordinary, and we must take action and rise up to the occasion to deal with it. So I hope you have a great 2 weeks, and I will see you for the next moon video. Have a great day. Bye.